Hey, what's going on? This is Malcolm coming to you with another M3 gaming video. And I was working on audio setup all morning. and it's a little ridiculous how difficult it is for me, I should say, to wire up a setup. It's just something I'm not good at. So we just had reset in Destiny 2 today, the weekly reset. And I believe it's the last week of this season. Um, let me look up right here. I think that's the timeline they said. Yeah. Uh, yeah. So this was the end of coming to the end of Season of the Deep. And Season of Redacted is probably going to be announced this week. I'm not sure when. I think they said it was on the 22nd. Maybe. I don't know. Anyway. Um, but right now it is Lightning Crystals in the Strike playlist. And Stasis is also a Surge. So it means I could take a Stasis build in there, no problem. The threat is Solar. So what I did on my resists on my vest is I just did a Solar resist and a Stasis resist, which costs one because it's corresponds to um, my subclass. Now, lightning crystals does mean that arc is going to do more damage, and I'm kind of concerned about that. I could switch that solar out for arc. I don't know which one is worse, so we'll see. Oh yeah, it's going to be arc. I do have to say, this is a fallen strike. Yeah, it's going to suck. um, Started it halfway in. Looks like my teammates are probably gonna pull me at that Vex plate. But yeah, I'm streaming to all of my regular channels. Recently, I was just thinking about starting a Twitch channel, and in the process of setting up Twitch, I said, I can multi-stream to all these places, so why not? And so I had a audio extractor. I was trying to make sure that I could also play with teammates on PS5. I don't know if that's possible. Like, I don't think they will hear me. However, this is the thing. I was working on all my audio today, and as I was setting it up, I was looking at which is my microphone, and somehow I was getting audio to the PS5. I have no idea how that's working.
Here we are again, cleaning up another of Clovis Bray's messes.
Be sure to remind him of that next time you see the bastard. He's the reason all this is here in the first place. The darkness told him to build the portal. It's his fault that Vex invaded. His fault so many people died. I did everything I could to help. It still wasn't enough.
There's no use in quantifying the help you give. Any amount is enough. You've done far more than most.
And it's only just begun, little lad.
Ooh. Yeah, I'm gonna want to put arc on. Oh god, that was rough. Okay. Yeah, because it's a lot of arc. It's pretty neat. I've never used this exotic, by the way. A speed loader pants or something. It makes a little funny sound every time you get a stack, which is nice because I can't see. I like an audio cue to let me know it's working. However, the effect doesn't seem that good. I say I haven't really noticed any like crazy reload speed, accuracy, whatever. It's okay. It seems good for lightning crystals because I'm typically I think another point is kind of is that it helps allies. So it's just kind of who knows. So like on lightning crystals, your dodge comes back significantly faster. I'm running as much mobility as I can. Should probably put some mobility on my subclass too, just to make it really pop. A few extra. Don't really need it though. I should be running marksman's dodging it. It's kind of a significant reload. It's just not a good exotic, but it's neutral. And honestly, I would use renewal grasp or whatever that one that gives you the makes your dust field grenades enhanced. I just don't like those. I don't know why. It doesn't do much for me.
You know what to do.
It's not bad though. I mean, I like the extra reload and everything. It's supposed to give you extra airborne effectiveness as well. Okay, I kind of like the speed loaders. I do like a little fast reload. I put it just it solves all your reload problems. I just realized that. I mean, on lightning crystals, I should say, because I can dodge like infinitely on here. Should probably use it. I was wondering if that was the last round. I had a super I could have popped, but I was just like, if there were more things coming, I would have
Bastards.
wanted to keep it.
Until next time.
And I didn't see a health bar, so I was like, maybe that means they just left. But no, they were dead. Okay. Clearly, I got the kinetic hand cannon part down. Okay, what do I have now? Solar machine gun, scout, auto, linear glaive. Okay, be a scout, linear. So a solar machine gun. Let me get that. see how this works with marksman's dodge.
The Lucent Hive are targeting Guardians in this sector.
Track down our missing fire teams and target any Hive leadership you encounter. Once you locate a Hive lieutenant, my scions will help you sever its connection to the Lucent brood.
Yeah, I like this marksman's dodge on here. It's pretty crazy because every time I dodge, I get like a little bit more handling. And then if I have to reload, I have plenty. Just like a movement exotic, man. I like it. At least on this. This is the only modifier I know that reduces your class ability cooldown, and it's only on arc and stasis. So, I mean, if this was on arc, it would be absolutely insane. Yeah, I don't even want to think about it because I think on arc, whenever you're amplified, you get that effect as well, and yeah, you just be amplified the whole time.
These Hive are bold, flaunting their stolen might in front of our faces.
Their confidence will be their undoing. Feed them their own swords.
Might want to change grenade up, maybe. Holy shit. Forget about arc damage. If I didn't have that arc resist, I would be dead right there. Yeah. That guy's running Risk Runner, and I finally get why. Just because arc. Arc is just that bad. Try to put a crafted weapon on each slot on these because you get bonus progress towards its upgrades.
Consider yourself lucky. The traveler could have chosen the Cabal.
How is that worse?
Because if Cabal had the light, you would not be alive for this conversation.
Someone using a emote, turntable emote. So I wonder if the audio can actually go through. I don't know. But the audio for the game is perfect in my headset. And I think it's hilarious that I spent so much time fiddling with it for it to just work the way it was supposed to from the get-go. Like I just after I like fiddled around with the wires in every possible configuration, I just started over and plugged it up the way I thought it should be plugged up, and it works. I was just like, oh, right. Why I couldn't have done that the first time, like 10 tries later. I don't know how IT people do it. I don't know how they do it. It drive me crazy. I remember as I was going through videos to figure out how to set it up, I could see the frustration on all these different people's faces. All of them had like different solutions to the problem. And it's a problem that should not even exist, right? It should be a simple thing of plug and play, right? But no, it's not that way. But I'm appreciative of it because even as I was watching, the people come up with solutions and they're posting it because they figured if they had this problem, other people would too. I don't know. I felt some solidarity with them, and I recognize that there are multiple solutions to a problem, which is kind of interesting. Their solutions worked for them, and they worked somewhat for me, but it was not a good fit because there was always something. I can't even go through all the iterations that I had to go through, but yeah, it was not good. Yeah, surprised by little speed loader boots. That's a pleasant surprise. I was very skeptical. It's very niche, but hey, that's kind of one of the joys of this game is that you can run niche builds. There could also be like a decent void build from this. I don't know. But I was just checking my postmaster. It's where all the items that you don't pick up land. Clear this out because I am full of stuff. Like that. I like to have at least the bottom 2 rows open. That's 14 items. Or, yeah. I think it's 21 items total that can drop. I got a fire team invite. What? I don't even know. Who is that?
Eververse isn't just a title, it's a promise.
I kind of want to join, I guess, because I'm curious if anyone can actually hear me in the game. If I went by his loadout, I was thinking he's doing strikes, maybe sunbracers. Yeah, that looks really cool. It's a nice. Which one is it? Fate of Exile. Isn't that it's from a raid. I can't remember though.
Fenchurch does the exploring. I make the deals.
Oh no, that's Trials. Yeah. I don't play Trials. It looks good though. I like the armor from that. I don't do PvP almost at all. So anyhow, I don't know them. Let me just go back into the strikes. I'll check out the news while I'm at it. Find out what is up with the Trump indictment or whatever. I don't know. Let's see.
Lahaina, Maui is almost entirely gone. Today it is in ashes. There are portions of structures that are either tilted over or completely leveled neighborhoods. You see those who were able to evacuate coming back to their homes and sort of going through the rubble, looking for whatever they can find. There's things you think you'll always have. Like things you think you'll give to your children.
That's super sad though, man.
Pictures of my parents.
Have you seen those images? Oh my god!
My parents from my wallet. I felt silly doing it because I'm like, we're gonna come back. No,
it's like a bomb went off.
Coming up on Today Explained, why Lahaina burned. The way we talk about mental health is changing.
I think I've seen enough of that and known. Oh, Mars? Oh, this is going to be miserable.
Good morning. Welcome back to Just Today. It's Monday, August 14th. I'm Nyla Blue. Today, an update on the deadliest American wildfire in a century. Plus, how one lawsuit could put a chill on corporate diversity programs across America. And today's one big thing. Georgia takes the spotlight among Trump's legal woes. First today, an update on Hawaii, where the recent Maui fires have become the deadliest in America in more than 100 years. As of last night, the death toll is at least 93 people. But that number continues to rise as search and rescue efforts are still underway.
Yeah, I heard it was like 99.
Are expressing concern over warnings ahead of the fire, asking why emergency sirens didn't go off in enough time for evacuation. So far, FEMA has more than 200 people on the ground helping with recovery efforts. And FEMA Administrator Dan Criswell told CBS's Face the Nation yesterday the agency is relying on dogs to help rescue teams identify remains.
But I think one of the challenging things is many of the areas that they're in searching, there's structures that are partially standing.
At a press conference on Saturday, Hawaii Governor Josh Green gave an update on the property damage.
In West Maui, 2,200 structures have been destroyed or damaged. 86% are residential. The losses approach $6 billion in estimate.
Many
Damn.
nonprofits are also providing relief. The American Red Cross is providing shelter for thousands who live
$6
displaced.
billion.
Maui Food Bank is providing meals for the community. And the
Right.
governor's office is directing donations to the Hawaii Community Foundation. We'll include a link to those places and others where you can donate in our show notes. All signs point to a big week ahead for the probe into former President Trump's 2020 election subversion efforts in Georgia. The Fulton County DA looks set to put the case before a grand jury this week. I asked Axios co-founder Mike Allen for the big picture.
Lots of people have tuned out the details of the Trump cases, but I think the new charges expected out of Atlanta break through in a new way. The Fulton County DA has been looking at charges involving witnesses and computers under the state's RICO laws. That is, racketeer, influence, and corrupt organizations, charges the public associates with mobsters.
Meanwhile, there are some new case details to know. Sources told CNN over the weekend new evidence directly
Okay, I
ties
like this
Trump's
bill.
team to January 2021 breach of voting systems in Coffee County, Georgia.
That was a
Axios'
nice little
Hans
move
Nichols
I
has the
did.
latest and why it matters. Hans, first, can you remind
This
us about
thing
this voting
loads slow
systems
as
breach
fuck.
and what we know about the Trump team's involvement in this?
Makes it so much better.
Story. It's a new development. They don't have this directly to the president. They have it to the president's legal team. What CNN is reporting here is that there was almost an invitation from a sympathetic election official in Coffee County inviting Trump's
God,
legal
this thing
team
is
to look under the
powerful.
hood because it was after the election before January 6th. So what we know at the time, and Trump was very public about this, is that he wanted to prove and at least find evidence of
And it
voter
gets
fraud.
around that thing.
So they
This
looked
is
at a largely Republican county to see potentially if they could have some facts to bolster that theory. Now, what we don't know is when the indictment, if there's going to be indictment, comes, and we don't know which case is going to supersede the others. The most significant thing about the Georgia case compared to the 3 other indictments that are out there, this is in a state court, which means that even if you have an election where Donald Trump prevails and could potentially call them off, this one he doesn't have the power to call off. And that's why legal experts have always looked at Georgia as a state case as having potentially a little bit more bite than the other ones.
Hans, what's your assessment at this point of Trump's legal situation right now? What are you most paying attention to?
We keep getting incremental advancements, and I do think that we can get lost and not see the forest for the trees in a lot of these cases because a lot, and this was the case with all of Trump's presidency, the quiet part was out loud. If you look at the totality of Trump's statements, it's that he thought he was cheated out of an election. Now, whether or not he was willfully believing that, or whether or not he was being deceived, or whether or not he knew it was a ruse, that's really what a jury is going to have to decide. So, yes, there's another bit of evidence if the evidence bears out and it's meets all the evidentiary
Oh,
standards.
this exotic
But
design.
to me, the big question still is what was in Donald Trump's mind.
Oh, I
and
just
is
love
that
this
criminal?
right now.
This Axios is Hans Nichols. Thanks, Hans.
Thanks for having me.
After the break, the affirmative action battle comes to corporate America.
Got a business problem? There's a TED Talk for that. Stay updated on everything business. TED Business, a podcast hosted by Columbia Business School professor Modupe Akinola. Every week, she'll introduce you to leaders with unique insights on work, answering questions like, how do 4-day work weeks? Will a machine ever take my job? Get some surprising answers on TED Business, wherever you listen to podcasts.
Welcome back to Axios Today. I'm Nyla Voodoo. Just 6 weeks after the Supreme Court struck down affirmative action in higher education, the fight over race-based policies has finally come to corporate America with the first big gauntlet thrown. The Fearless Fund, a venture capital firm based in Atlanta, has historically focused on startups led by women of color. Now the group is being sued by Edward Blum, the same conservative strategist behind the legal battle over college admissions. Axios Pro Rata editor Dan Primack is here with more. Hey, Dan.
Hey.
Dan, what else do we need to know about the parties involved in this lawsuit?
So Fearless Fund is interesting. It's about 4 years old. It's really small. This isn't, going after Harvard or Stanford or something like that. But the fact that it's so small is interesting because really the goal of Blum here isn't to get money out of Fearless Fund and sue on behalf of people to get damages. It's really to set a precedent that then could get expanded not only to others within kind of venture capital, and there's lots of other programs like this, but arguably to kind of corporate America much more broadly.
What is the suit alleging?
Fearless Fund has a grant program. They provide $20,000 grants 4 times per year to startups that are led by Black women. And these startups apply, and one is given this each year. They've done it for a couple of years. What Blum is alleging is that it's an illegal program because it's a race-based program. It's very similar to the affirmative action case in colleges. He's basically saying you cannot give grants based on race.
Yeah, they might actually turn that over. That's
Fearless Fund,
crazy,
then
bro.
anybody who doesn't get a job anywhere is going to arguably, not just not get a job, doesn't get a job, doesn't get
Wow.
grants,
And I can't believe that
it's a company that has made some sort of explicit
there are
thing.
people who
they're gonna fix-
fucking
What does the
support
funding
that.
gap look like for Black Americans when it comes to venture capital?
I need to
It's
stop
extraordinary.
listening to
Black Americans
politics.
are Black
I need to
Less
stop.
than 1% of all venture capital dollars in the United States.
Just
How
jaw
big do you think
dropping.
this
Like,
lawsuit is?
I think it's an extremely big deal for 2 reasons.
we're
One,
trying to make
Blum,
Black
this
women
year,
more
has
business
a track
owners. Let's
record
oppose that.
court in
Right.
court cases against college. The legal underpinning of it was
Oh
very,
my
very similar
God.
to what he's trying to do here. And if you think about kind of corporate America, think of all the grant programs and DEI programs and other diversity programs. Blum is successful in this. He, in theory, could put a chill on all of those programs throughout corporate America.
What have we heard from the Fearless Fund lawyers about this?
Fearless Fund lawyers have called this frivolous. They've said they've had to try to get dismissal, and they intend to win. In terms of their legal defense, though, we have not heard much. It's only been a couple days, and they're not yet required to reply in court. This is being heard in Georgia, or will be heard in Georgia.
What are you watching for next year?
I'm watching to see what their legal strategy is, right? You know, they have a little bit of a blueprint in terms of how they saw Lum succeed in Supreme Court case on college. Of course, he won, so they need to come up with a different defense than the lawyers used in that case on the case.
What do we think about affirmative action and race-based policies in business compared to higher education? What's different about this conversation?
Honestly, not all that much. The basic reason why corporate America has programs like this, why Fearless Fund has this sort of grant program, is arguably the same reason why you saw colleges have affirmative action, which is that there is this gap, there is systemic racism, and there's a history of certain groups of people having much less opportunity. And these programs are an effort to try to remedy that. And what you heard from Fearless Fund lawyers is that they kind of find it appalling that a law, the Civil Rights Act, which was intended to increase opportunity for certain groups of people, is now being used kind of as a crutch against them.
Dan Pernick is an Axios business editor and author of the Pro Rata newsletter. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you, Nala.
We live in strange times.
Today marks 11 years.
It is really weird.
Tice was abducted at a checkpoint near the
There's a former president who's got like 91 felony charges.
And
he's leading in the polls. What the fuck is
President
going
Biden spoke
on?
about him back in the spring, as well as detained Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich, who was
That's
arrested
so
in Russia.
crazy. Like he's literally being charged with stealing votes, right? And people are like, oh yeah, I'd vote for him. Like what the fuck?
And that's it for us today. I'm Nyla Voodoo. Thanks for listening. Stay safe, and we'll see you back here tomorrow morning.
Got a business problem? There's a TED Talk for that. Stay updated on everything business on TED Business, the podcast hosted by Columbia Business School professor Udu.
Tradition and marriage in India, and I ended up reporting a true crime story that became a podcast for NPR. And I reported.
You know, business today runs on many clouds, but managing all those clouds can be chaotic. VMware helps you move from cloud chaos to cloud smart. Purpose-built for multi-cloud, VMware cross-cloud services simplify management, empower developers, enable great customer experiences, and improve employee productivity. With VMware, you gain the choice, security, and control you need to drive business forward in a world of many clouds. VMware, the smarter way to cloud. Learn more at VMware.com.
Here we go. Well, I'm in Atlantic City. DJ Red Alert on stage with Lady B. This concert was like a running mixtape. No breaks, no pauses. And we put in the cassette and press play. As soon as the rapper song was done, another one came out on stage. I have never seen the Grandmasters come on stage like this together. This occasion is special. It's an anniversary. It's a celebration. Hip-hop is turning 50.
All the group of rappers on stage, you really gonna be crying tonight. It's non-stop.
I was there to be a part of hip-hop history. I wanted to understand the old school generation, to understand the mindset of the people who started this 50 years ago.
My name is Paris Smith. I'm on behalf of the legendary rapper PPMD. Master Ace, MC, recording artist, songwriter from Brooklyn, New York.
I am the legendary DJ Cool. I'm from Washington, D.C., and I tear clubs up. That's what I do. Backstage after the show, all the legends are gathered. But it felt less like a concert and more like a family reunion.
Now this dude right here, never changed. He was a bum then, and he's a bum now.
One corner of the room, I spot Melly Mel. Someone who's been rapping at hip-hop was He's cracking jokes with DJ Red Alert.
That's right, baby. How you doing, man?
There's a lot of laughter and a lot of reminiscing. Everyone is wearing the exact same outfits they wore back in the 80s.
Rapping? Who excuse me? I was rapping like 83. I think I got in high school in 86. I started rapping in junior high in 83. Wow.
I see Yo-Yo. She was one of my favorite rappers growing up.
I need to actually use my dodge to reload. I don't like reload and then dodge. It's weird.
I had a boyfriend. I remember I wrote a rap like, haha, yo busted. I wrote a rap. He was cheating on me. I wrote a rap when he came out of the class. I was like, haha, yo busted. The game's on you. You tried to be a player, but
For me, this is just a real moment. Hip-hop changed my life. The first time I heard a rap song, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I became an MC. It's why I'm an audio engineer. And as I looked out into the crowd, I kept asking myself, do these legends know the impact they have in the world? I grew up in Bangkok, Thailand, but my roots are in Atlanta, Georgia. Hip-hop is how I connected to it. As hip-hop turns 50, I thought it would be the perfect opportunity to highlight one of America's biggest cultural exports. To look back at the things that shaped hip-hop itself. And I want to share this history with the world because this has had such an impact on my life, on so many others, even if they don't realize it. From the newsroom of the Washington Post, I'm the guest host of the Post. Okay. From the newsroom of the Washington Post, this is Post Reports. I'm your guest host, Sean Carter. No, not that one. It's August 11th. Today, we hear the story of hip-hop, straight from some of the most influential people in the genre, and in their own words. In this episode, artists and historians help us explore how hip-hop went from a black party in the South Bronx, becoming a multi-billion-dollar industry that spans the world. I'm talking about the East Coast hip-hop scene, gangster rap on the West Coast, and the rise of the Dirty South. Before the Grammys, before Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre performed at the Super Bowl, well before there were blowout concerts in Atlantic City, hip-hop was just a couple of kids in the turntables. It's commonly accepted by most historians and people inside the industry that hip-hop was born in the South Bronx. A teenager named Cindy Campbell decided to throw a party one summer night, August 11, 1973. And Cindy asked her brother Clive to play some music. Clive Campbell, also known as DJ Kool Herc. Like a lot of black youth back then, Herc was inspired by the pioneers of funk and soul music.
Their inspiration was, in some cases, James Brown, George Clinton, and Parliament Funkadelic. The type of stuff Kool Herc would have been playing at those parties would have been the soul music of the 70s, what we later call funk.
That's Keith McMillan, an editor here at the Washington Post. He's been doing a lot of reporting on the history of hip-hop.
Kool Herc was Jamaican, so there's Jamaican influence and reggae influence in hip-hop. Pretty much all the type of black music that was happening at the time.
Now, Cindy's party wasn't anything special. I mean, I heard it was a dope time. But just what Kool Herc did at that party made it so legendary. He created something called the breakbeat. To put it simply, the breakbeat is a drum beat, often repeated song, synced, manipulated, and repeated.
The DJs would have 2 copies of the same record, and instead of playing the whole record all the way through, they would just take the best snippet, the funkiest part, the bridge, the breakdown, the breakbeat. And sometimes it would just be, a very short part, and then they would just weave it together. So they were playing the same part over and over again, and it was woven together like it was almost a new song. People just wanted to dance to the break in the song, and that's how the term breakbeat came along.
After Kool Herc played it to the crowd on a summer day in 1973, it became a mainstay of Bronx house parties, eventually spreading further throughout New York City.
Herc has an incredible musical style. He's playing music that you can't hear on the radio. That's incredibly funky. And people come to the party for Herc's brand of music and selection of music.
Jeff Chang is a historian and author of the book Can't Stop, Won't Stop, the history of the hip-hop generation. I talked to Jeff because I wanted to find out what hip-hop meant to the 50s and 70s, how the music became so widespread.
It's about going out across the Bronx and exploring with young folks. And, getting into dance battles or trying to find out what these kids are about or those kids are about. It's about showing your style.
When Herc threw that party, the Bronx was experiencing a new era of peace. For years, youth gangs ruled the streets, often violently. But when that violence hit a fever pitch, it encouraged gangs to make peace. And that's exactly what they did in the early 1970s.
What you find is the gangs start becoming the centers of a lot of the party scene, right? People want to go and they want to party, they want to hear music and that kind of stuff. And this sets the stage, really, for DJ Kool Herc in 1973 to throw his fabled party.
So how does hip-hop go from the basement party to the parks to how did it explode to commercial music? What was that next step? What was the first commercial, hip-hop song to take it?
Well, that would have to be Rappers Delay. It's a record by the Sugar Hill Gang that comes out in 1979.
Dr. Gunn, do you think you can spit a few bars of Rappers Delay, please? Your favorite bars?
I'll have to edit this.
Dr. Kierkegaard is an ethnomusicologist at the University of Albany who studies Black girlhood and hip-hop.
Now, what you hear is not a test. I'm right to the beat. And me, the crew, and my friends are going to try to move your feet. See?
By 1980, Rapper's Delight will become the first hip-hop song to break into the top 40 on the Billboard ratings charts. And internationally, it did even better. Hip-hop was beginning to move into a new era, one featuring more commercial success and a new sound. That new sound would include what's now a mainstay of the genre, rap, something that was directly inspired by Double Dutch, a popular jump rope and hand clapping game played by black girls.
The element that we often don't remember is Double Dutch.
In fact, when the first international rap tour happened in 1981, alongside DJs, MCs, and rappers, a group of girls from the Double Dutch team was invited.
Kool Lady Blue and Fat Five Freddy curated this tour. And the Double Dutch girls were billed in it, and it is Dolores, Robin, Deshawn, and Nikki. So they were on the first international rap tour. And so Double Dutch was important because it has all of the elements of improvisation, freestyling, the roux of black musical aesthetics that sound like rapping, that feel like sampling, with Down Down Baby.
And of course, you can still hear the influence of those old school Double Dutch rhymes in modern songs.
So Nelly's Country Grammar. Digital Underground has a song, Kiss Me and I'll Kiss You Back. It sounds like a girl's game song. Like you're sewing little pieces of the everyday culture into a sampling aesthetic or a rapping aesthetic so that you can get girls on the dance floor in a genre that is seen as predominantly male.
Engine number 9 on the New York Transit line. If my train goes off the track, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up.
At the same time the international hip-hop tours were happening in the 80s, underground hip-hop was thriving. Back then, hip-hop communities were built around trading mixtapes and bootleg copies of popular rap tapes.
If you go back to the tape era, and this, for some listeners, they may be only familiar with CDs, they may only be familiar with the streaming era, but we came up in cassette tapes.
Here's Keith McMillan again.
And so what would happen, we didn't have a lot of money to spend, so what would happen is someone would buy the paid in full, like the original one, and then I might have like Yo Bum Rush the Show, like the first Public Enemy album or something, and then you would just trade them.
Back in the day, it was cassette tapes, 1986 cassette tapes, funny little plastic piece that had 2 holes in it.
It's funny that people don't know what cassette tapes are.
That's William Michael Griffin.
I'm old. I must be old. They have to explain that. I think I still have cassette tapes. That's so bad.
Hip-hop wasn't just about the music, it was a fashion statement and a new way of life.
I'm pretty sure I got some cassette tapes in my closet.
Let's welcome a terrific young rap combination. It's a selection from their Paid in Full album on the 4th and Broadway label. The song is titled I Know You Got Soul, and they are Eric B. and Rakim. It's not an exaggeration to say that without Rakim, rap wouldn't be what it is today. Rakim's conversational tone and intricate rhyme schemes changed the way people thought about hip-hop. In fact,
I cannot jump right in here.
just put on a Nas album.
So I jump too high, I usually hit my head
Rakim's
there.
habit of sporting big gold chains, 4-finger rings, would have a lasting impact on hip-hop culture. And he was serious. Rakim wasn't playing. He was there to drop knowledge. He took rhyming so seriously that he didn't have space to put in a catchy hook. Instead, his rhymes were rooted in black consciousness and themes of black empowerment that he grew up with.
I do have Stasis Loader on.
So of course I needed to talk to him. And that's how I found myself in the middle of a concert venue in Asbury Park, New Jersey this summer. Oh, yeah, peace, God. Peace. Backstage with Eric B. and Rakim.
Yeah.
The publicist told me I could do the interview before the show. So I'm waiting around. 8 o'clock passes. It's almost showtime. Still no interview. We're about to walk into the stage. Then the concert starts. No surprises. That pre-show interview didn't happen.
Where are we out here?
It was only after the show that I got a chance to sit down with Rakim. First and foremost, peace, Rakim, peace.
I'm gonna let them pull me.
Oh, no doubt. Thanks for the welcome, Matt.
We were outside in the backyard of the house he was staying in. Inside, there was an after party raging.
Hey, easy over there. Yeah, make security. Hey, yo, we got a problem over here, man. Hey, buddy, man.
Finally, I got the chance to ask him about his classic album, Paid in Full, and if he knew how this would change the world.
You just trying to be creative, trying to push the envelope. I think we had the right mixture of cockiness and determination and a little bit of arrogance. You know what I mean? Which is real important, especially in hip hop. You know what I mean? You got to be decisive on what you're doing. You got to be sure about it, and people got to feel it.
What was going on in the beginning, like the elements of hip hop? I want to make sure people understand.
In early stages, man, it was like the beginning of people being creative with, you know,
a giant bow.
The way you had, the way you lace your sneakers up, you know, certain kind of strings that you wore. And all of these things said hip hop. You know what I mean?
So I asked, when did you know the genre, this thing called hip hop, was for real? It didn't take him long to come up with an answer. He looked up at me with the classic Rakim seriousness, and his one-of-a-kind baritone voice told me it was 1986 when he thought he was being robbed.
I remember walking home one day, and brother, one of the OGs in the hood, was sitting in the car, and the song was playing. I'm walking home, and my man, I tell you, people used to steal my cassette tape, right? People used to steal my tape, so I'm walking by the car, so I look at him like, yo, my man, yo, that's my tape. OG looked at me, G. I was like, yeah, that's my tape. You know what I mean? He looked at me like, yo, what you talking about, man? He looked. He said, yo, this the radio, man. Yo, when he said that, I floated all the way home from the discount store right there. I remember getting home, how I got home from that point. But all I knew is my song was on the radio, and it felt like, you know, like the whole world was listening.
Yeah.
Rakim's influence on hip-hop is clear today. You can trace the roots of rappers like Eminem and Kendrick Lamar back to Rakim's music. But it went past the music. Rakim helped develop a culture. It was the way he dressed, and the way he saw hip-hop as a means of developing black consciousness, and that would elevate the game. When I was with him in Asbury Park, he didn't look too different from the cover of his first album, Paid in Full. He had his gold chain on, a full Gucci sweatsuit, and Yankees hat that still gave him a youthful flair. But what's different now about the man standing in front of me is that if you ask anyone in hip-hop who he is, they'll tell you, that's Rakim the God. So I'll give you your flowers. I'm gonna give you your flowers, bro. You weren't here. You didn't rap. I wouldn't be working at the Washington Post, bro. I grew up listening to your records in Eric B. Then maybe getting a sample and start rhyming. So I have these flowers and I appreciate you, all your contributions to the culture. Thank you.
Appreciate you, bro. Thank you so much.
After the break, we trace the rise of hip-hop across the U.S. with the birth of West Coast rap. We'll be right back.
Tired of cloud chaos? Get Cloud Smart. Designed for a multi-cloud world, VMware cross-cloud services help you manage all of your clouds as easily as one.
So I have to go back. No one's going to get it.
Learn more at VMware.com.
86, West Coast. It was a lot going on in 86. I mean, LA was really going through a lot of turmoil.
In 1986, Yolanda Whitaker, Yo-Yo, who we heard from earlier, was a teenager in South Central Los Angeles. It was also a year when
I wish I knew how to get that thing up there.
Gang activity was really large in Los Angeles. You had a chief of police that was very racist, and you know, we had this, you know, the battle ram. You know, these were armored trucks that were going into people's houses, crashing into people's houses. So there was a lot.
The Los Angeles Police Department was in the thick of the war on drugs, more specifically, the war on crack cocaine, which even President Ronald Reagan had on his radar.
Today, there's a new epidemic, smokable cocaine, otherwise known as crack. It is an explosively destructive and often lethal substance, which is crushing its users. It is an uncontrolled fire. Well, when we get to the 1980s, what we've seen is this massive disinvestment in Black and brown communities.
That's a story of Jeff Chang again.
You've seen a lot of social services removed, schools are closing up, folks are being laid off, and music classes and arts classes are closing. And when you add into that mix the introduction of crack cocaine, it becomes really devastating for communities that are already under a lot of pressure.
The crack epidemic, as it came to be known, was a national crisis. It hit places like South Central Los Angeles. South Central was already burdened with gun violence created by street gangs, Bloods, Crips, and MS-13. Crack just made things worse.
You have the massive expansion of the drug trade and that merging with the gang movements. But it's much more deadly because of the intensity of the drug, the intensity of the trade, and now the accessibility, the easy accessibility of all this weaponry. So the music had to change.
It was in these conditions that a new generation of hip-hop talent found their voices, specifically a new group called NWA. Led by the rapper Ice Cube, NWA sang about life as they saw it, and they didn't hold any punches when it came out of the LAPD's Red War clubs. NWA's existence was short-lived, but the release of the 1988 album Straight Outta Compton is a similar point for hip-hop, and it will put the LA hip-hop scene on the map. And that's when Yolanda Whitaker, now rapping under the name Yo-Yo, went onto the scene. The first time I heard you on the track, I'm gonna show my age. I heard you fourth grade. It was Ice Cube and yourself. It's a Man's World, and I was like, just ate him on this track. What? Who is it? Like, my older brother was like, that's Yo-Yo. I called him with Yo-Yo and the one you heard if you started this episode. Like, I'm always curious. How did you get your pen so sharp? You were murdering everybody on the track.
My pen sharpened when I met Ice Cube. I've always had a gift of writing and a gift of gab, of course. But my penmanship sharpened once I met Ice Cube. And Q kind of heightened he kind of grew me up in the music industry.
Ice Cube and NWA were pioneers in the West Coast scene. Ice Cube was one of the biggest stars.
But, the fact that Q respected the kind of woman I was and where I was coming from allowed me to respect him. NWA was hard from Los Angeles. They would say, I ain't the one. The one to get played by Fupa, and all these different songs.
Like the South Bronx, Los Angeles hip-hop was very influenced by the street gangs created in daily life. But while the Whitney was born in the Vegas truce, West Coast hip-hop was influenced by gang violence. You can hear that in the lyrics.
To me, gangsta rap is just the most raw, authentic picture of what life is like in a part of the country. This is a part of America where a lot of the rest of America would like to pretend doesn't exist.
This is Keith Miller. He sat down for the breakdown of what gangsta rap is, including his subgenres like G-Funk.
Those people didn't see themselves reflected in images on television and in the news, except in the worst ways. And so they began to write songs that come at you in a way that show the breadth of humanity. Right? But you also hear, I'm thinking of a song, Peace Tree, which is just about here's a song that's not really G-Thing, which is sort of just like, feels like a West Coast barbecue song for me. You see people in the video playing dominoes. There was just a lot more to it. Gangster rap and what became known really as G-Funk, when we talk about Death Row, Dr. Dre, Warren G, that is sort of, in a lot of ways, the foundation of gangster rap and what people would refer to as gangster rap. But I just feel like it was, just trying to take us inside life in parts of the country. Again, parts of America. This is just as much America as any other part of the heartland or the Bible Belt, right? But it's just a part that we weren't getting authentic images and stories from.
Gangsta rap captured the imagination. In the 1990s, artists like Snoop Dogg, Notorious B.I.G., and Dr. Dre sold millions of albums each. But once again, hip-hop was going through a transformative period. Hip-hop was bi-coastal, and hip rappers were feeling that shit.
Undefeasible, your days is over fucking evil. Jumping to your people trying to bless your spot, but we don't believe that because EBS.
Blase is better than the New York hip-hop scene. And the voice behind the 1995 hit song, Danger.
The East is in the house, oh my God. At the park, we got at the park when we shot Danger. In the 90s, it was just like, it was real big boom bap, big underground community.
That boom bap sound Blase is talking about is a mainstay of East Coast hip hop, usually involving heavy drums and in-your-face sound.
It's violent, but in a good way. Like, my first record was Danger, which is a boom bap record, but it was able to cross over.
That was a nice melt.
Where hip hop was and the influence that hip hop had. That's an era when it caught them by surprise.
New York had long considered itself hip hop's cultural capital. But the artists like NWA and Yo-Yo who were coming out of LA were challenging that.
It wasn't an intentional thing, but at the time it was like the West Coast was just killing us. It was just killing New York, and you was just hearing New York radio playing back-to-back West Coast records. Something that was just like, led to the East Coast West Coast war. It was a big part of the East Coast West Coast war. Like I said, that wasn't intention. It's just people manipulating the situation also. Magazines manipulated the situation. What was going on? It just played a perfect role.
Despite hip hop being an incredibly diverse genre, the rivalry between the New York-based record labels Bad Boy and LA's Death Row Records got a lot of national media attention. Check out Snoop Dogg in the 1995 Source Awards.
Wait. The East Coast don't love Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg? The East Coast ain't got no love for Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg? And
in death row? Y'all don't love us? Y'all don't love us? Well, let it be known then. We know y'all East Coast. East Coast.
That rivalry was embodied in a feud between two of hip-hop's biggest stars, the notorious B.I.G. and Tupac Shakur. Here's Biggie in one of his last interviews he gave talking about Tupac.
We two individual people, we waged a coastal beef. You know what I'm saying? One man against one man made a whole West Coast hate a whole East Coast and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? And that really bugged me out. Like, yo, Duke don't like me, so this whole coast don't like me.
Both were seen as luminaries in the genre. By 1997, both would be found dead from gun violence. Neither made it to see their 26th birthday.
I feel like they got pitted against each other, maybe against their will. People were making it out to be more than maybe artists wanted it to be. But it was getting at something that was really real in hip hop, which was you just slow to accept your sound.
Let's keep it in.
And obviously, when Tupac got shot in Las Vegas in '96 and then Biggie got shot in LA in '97, it hit hip hop as a community in a way where people were like, it's too much. We can't be losing high level artists with so much wisdom and brilliance to give to the listeners over, really just a demand that we respect each other.
But that rivalry wasn't really what hip hop was all about, even in the 90s era. Yeah, there was some genuine animosity between some of the New York and LA scenes. That was just one corner of the genre.
It's weird because I feel like even as it was happening, there were factions of hip hop that were trying to not further it. So even then, there were groups doing these like kind of East-West collaborations and trying to make sure that hip hop kind of had this universal feel to it. That, like wherever you were, if you were hip hop, you were part of it. And I remember Ed Lover saying this, the host of Young TV Raps. He said before social media, we didn't know what was going on in Oakland. We didn't know what was going on in Miami until we heard the album, we saw the video. So if you were growing up in Boston or Cleveland or Grand Rapids or Kalispell, Montana, and then you have access to MTV. Like, whoa, I can go to Atlanta with Outkast. I can go to Miami with Two Live Crew. I can go to Houston with Ghetto Boys. You just realize that there's more outside, more life than whatever city or town you grew up.
Yeah.
As gangster rap further ingrained itself into mainstream commercial culture, critics seem to be.
It is hard to remember what I was like before, just not knowing
One of the
shit.
most prominent was C. Dolores Tucker, a civil rights activist who once marched.
We have so much information at our
Tucker said
fingertips
gangster rap
now.
glorified violence and misogyny.
I forget sometimes.
It is obscene. It is obscene. It is obscene.
Even Congress began to scrutinize hip hop. Senator Carol Moseley Braun held a hearing on Capitol Hill to investigate the impact of gangster rap on youth. Yo-Yo was even invited to testify, and she noted that she and many artists do think about listening to their music.
When I know there are kids in the audience, I tend to change up words to because I know kids are out there listening to my music. My music has a sticker on it that says explicit lyrics on the cover of my music.
At the turn of the millennium, the backlash against rap had really heightened. There was a massive pressure campaign for labels like Time Warner to drop rappers. And it was led by conservative activists like Charlton Heston. Because of these campaigns, labels did drop rappers.
When I read the lyrics to the waiting press corps outside, one of them said, we can't print that, you know. I know. I said, but Time Warner is still selling it.
I forgot about
2
his
months later,
ass.
Time Warner terminated Ice-T's contract.
Without the influence of major labels on hip-hop, a third coast credit shot.
He was the head of the NRA.
It's like this, though. I'm tired of folks, you know what I'm saying? Close-minded folks, you know what I'm saying? It's like we got a demo tape, nobody want to hear it, but it's like this is South got something to say.
Damn, this thing is fucking ripping through these fuckers.
Artists in the South began to form their own record labels. Often neglected by the major record companies, Southern rappers formed their own distribution companies and grew the industry up from scratch. The result was a DIY network of artists and producers that stretched from Houston all the way to Atlanta, and it allowed for a big range of sounds.
Atlanta hip hop is a collage, man. You know, from the early hip hop from Outkast having something to say to T.I. going in the trap.
Christopher Golson, better known as Drummer Boy, was a producer and songwriter who came up in Memphis, Tennessee, but he cut his teeth in Atlanta, Georgia, which is now considered the capital of hip hop. He's worked with some of the biggest acts in hip hop, from Young Jeezy, the Gucci Mane, Lil Wayne, to Drake.
You know, D4L going into snap music, Lil Jon, snap music, and then Lil Jon pioneering crunk music. I think Atlanta's the mecca of people who have been, born here, as well as people who have moved here from all over the world. So it's one of the most diverse cities when it comes to the South. Hip hop, Southern, I mean, it's the accent, the way we speak, the way we talk. Sometimes the beats, the instruments, the culture. You can tell a New Orleans style beat, you can tell an Atlanta style beat, you can tell a Memphis style beat, you can tell Texas chopped and screwed. Your crunk sound is Memphis sound. Lil Jon says where he gets crunk from, it's Memphis.
It wasn't long before the rest of the country started to gravitate to the diversity of the sound coming out of Southern hip hop. In the early 2000s, there was his hit after hit after hit. There was Outkast's Stankonia, which won the Grammy for Best Rap Album. It was Usher's Yeah. T.I.'s Rip Out. And the crunk classic Get Low. By the end of 2004, 5 of the top 10 songs on the Billboard's rating charts were by Southern hip hop artists and producers.
Jeez.
Far from when Outkast was booed for repping Atlanta at the Source Awards. Today, most hip hop now goes to the South and then out to the world. And that's where I went when I wanted to get my start in hip hop. Modern hip hop down South is about respect and inclusivity. Because so much of Southern hip hop is independent and based on the hustle mentality, anyone can find their own way and make their own sound. I heard that same story from rappers through stories, but I also lived it and breathed it. Unlike the New York or LA scenes, what makes Southern hip hop so unique is that it's really hard to explain what the sound is. If anything, the sound is diversity. But the rise of Atlanta in the South is also a testament to hip hop's ability to adapt, evolve, and survive.
This is the greatest hip hop show ever.
That's what that celebration in Atlantic City was all about. It was a moment to appreciate that somehow, one way or another, starting with some kids, turntables, and creative records, became something that would change our lives all over the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, how many of y'all are 20 and better? 30 and better? 40 and better? This is where it gets serious. 50 and better?
What I want to know now is, where does it go next? And that's what I asked the Lady of Rage, a staple of the West Coast 90s scene, backstage while she was rocking the famous album. The year anniversary of hip hop. Where do you see hip hop going?
Where has it not gone already? It's out of here. The stratosphere. There are no limits to where it can go. I mean, it's gone everywhere. So unless there is an Atlantis, it can go there. There are aliens that can go to them. But I think there is no place that hip hop has not gone, maybe except Antarctica.
When you really break it
I just
down,
realized I could
hip-hop's a
add a
nuanced genre.
slow
It's
effect
hard
to my
capture.
dodge.
In so many ways, hip hop is a unique reflection of the
'Cause,
communities it
I
comes
mean,
out
I
of.
just have to give up
And songs
those
written about
stasis
Atlanta,
crystals.
Los Angeles also transcend. And spiritual
No.
songs can touch us no matter where we
I
are.
don't really use those
For me,
anymore.
hip hop is one of the purest forms of expression.
Stasis shards,
It
I
can be
mean.
raw, angry, slow, silent. Performed with a couple of drums and a turntable, or alongside a symphony. But I think Ray said it best.
Hip hop can touch a culture and take over. Hip hop can touch companies and take over. Hip hop can touch your mind and take over. It's a way of communicating. It's a way of speaking a language that others may not be familiar with. And if you listen to this, then you might understand somebody else's culture or what they're going through, and you never would have known other than outside of listening to hip hop. Hip hop is the avenue that can bridge things together.
Yeah, that will probably do
It
best
can
right
just
there.
engulf everything and take over.
What else?
That's it for Post Reports. Thanks for listening. Today's episode was
Okay. Okay, that's unnecessary. I'm seeing if there's anything that increases mobility. Decreases strain. That was already applied. This one. Yeah, getting class ability energy from slowed targets is obviously good. And I have one fewer of these. Okay. That's right. Because that Grim Harvest gives you an extra. I don't need the extra one though. I think just getting a class ability back would be good. Cool. Got the overshield.
As a fellow inorganic life form, I just want to know that Rasputin has a much better setup than I do. He has a secret bunker with space weapons. I live in your backpack.
I wish Powerful Friends still gave you mobility. I guess they had to do something about that.
That shank's been modified to protect the system. Let's take it out. scraps on the carpet. It's lucky that it managed to work as well as it did.
Not bad.
Maybe it was the size. It was pretty big for a shank.
I think I might be hungry. I think it might be time for me to take a break. I have a post I might do for Instagram. I like to post it around 5, 6 when people are getting off work. It is their usually the height of people's activity online. Just probably checking out what their friends are doing, whatever. But let's see. Go back to the tower to check my postmaster. That was a lot of fun, though. Definitely. I still have one more I need to do, or I can do the Nightfall, which I guess is Devil's Lair. It says Cosmodrome, but there are two. There's Cosmodrome. I mean, there's actually 3 Cosmodrome strikes. I don't know which is which. Dance machines would be good too, but I don't know. I like the speed loaders. Getting extra dodges is like, I don't need extra dodges. I want the reload. It's pretty cool. All right. Yeah, let me go ahead and end this. I'll be back on later tonight. I am going to make a post on Instagram. And just check out the topics that I have for the live stream tomorrow. If yeah, go to youtube.com/mailmediamind, subscribe, hit the bell, and when we go live tomorrow at 7, you'll be notified. Should have a pretty good show. I don't know what we're going to talk about. I need to get with the other guys and see what they have. I'm pretty sure we're going to talk about the indictment from Atlanta, maybe some of the responses, because I'm curious as to, now that all of the indictments have come down, I don't know if they're all of them. All the ones that we knew that were going to come have come, and we see now that they're also indicting a lot of people around Trump. That's a really big difference in the latest indictment versus the previous ones, that it is including his lawyers and a lot of people who tried to pretend to be electors, and what the whole narrative is. I haven't read this indictment yet, so maybe I need to do that. Yeah, so on that